Welcome friends, Lost Scarf here, and it's time for the top 10 one-shots of 2020. So what is a one-shot? A one-shot is usually 95% of the time an indie game that I thought was so good I needed to make a video recommending it so that you can check it out and see if you want to buy it for yourself. That's usually what it is. We've done this every year for the last 7 years, and this year we brought the criteria way the hell up, because usually what will happen is, back in the day, I'd be like, this ain't bad, it's not great, but it's okay. The developer was really nice, I'll make a video recommending it, and maybe people want to buy it. But what that did is that brought down the quality of one-shots, unfortunately. And now it's just like, these are the games that I feel you gotta play. At least try it if it's a free-to-play game. And if it's a purchase game, see if there's a demo or something like that. These are good games, these are a must, or these games were super addictive. There's all these different opinions I had. Like, there's a reason why you should check out this game. And the list for the one-shot top 10 is across the board, because Scarf plays everything. You can trust me on every genre except horror games and sports games. That is really it. I am not great at these things. Horror games are just they either make me too nervous or I just don't care for the gore. And sports games just ain't my thing, so I'm never going to recommend like FIFA. But everything else, bullet hells, beat 'em ups, fighting games, puzzlers, card builders, RPGs, action games, everything else. I've played something this year, because I just love playing games. I played, if I counted correctly, 347 games this year. That was a lot of indie games. I got so many free copies from publishers and developers to play their games. I checked out a lot of games. There's a crap ton of gameplay footage on the side channel of games that were okay or just awful. I just put them all up there. And these are the cream of crop. These are the ones that were so good, I made a recommendation video. That's what these are. These are the top 10 of those. And if you're wondering, after watching this list, why isn't some game you really liked here? It's probably because I didn't get a chance to play it, because literally there are thousands of indie games a year, and I only played a good fraction of it. Or they just wasn't that good to me. But that's my opinion at the end of the day. I play a lot of games, somebody plays a lot of games, this is what I think are the top 10. And this top 10 does scratch different itches on me. There is a wide variety here, so you should appreciate that. In the end, sure, number one's number one, but any of these 10 are worth checking out. They really are. I had a lot of fun with them. I spent way too much time on a bunch of these games. So first up, we got to do the honorable mentions, and these just barely missed the list, and they are Receiver 2, Good Job, and Godhood. Receiver 2 does tension so very well while you're just trying to figure out how you're fiddling with your gun and everything, and not running into the wrong just turret situation or flyer situation. It's a very fun game. Really good tension with just the gunplay and everything. You just feel unnerved. You feel tense. If you want a tension game, this is the best one for it. You want to feel like you need to think about and consider your moves. Receiver 2 is really good for that. Good Job is just a fun game. Good Job is on the Switch. We saw it in Direct. I'm like, oh, I gotta buy this. So I instantly bought it when it came out. And it's just a fun game where you just break a bunch of stuff and you're trying to do an objective, kind of a little puzzly game where you're doing a lot of destruction. And it's fun, but eventually it does get a bit old, but it is a very fun game. I loved it a lot, so there you go with that. Godhood is an addiction. Godhood is from the people who made Renowned Explorers. They have a very interesting combat system to their game, and this one you are being a god. You have your followers, you're helping nourish them and grow them into great disciples for you, great zealots. And it's a very fun strategic game, just building up these followers. It's really fun. I recommend the heck out of all three of these, and check out the video if you're curious about any of them. Number 10 is MiniMax Tinyverse. So the developer is Nimble Neuron and O Blue Inc. That's also the publisher. And this is a phone game you can also play on PC. So Android, iOS, Steam, all these things you can play it on, and you can cross-play it. And this is a real-time strategy game where you control, you're like a god kind of thing, and the way it works is it's a 2-lane fighting thing. Characters going automatically off the lanes. It's kind of like League of Legends kind of thing with 2 lanes, and you have a character you can control, and you use cards to summon more units. And it's one of those kind of games. And it's a free-to-play game, and I played it with a free account and with a paid account because the developer gave me money for the game. It was really fun both ways. The free player can eventually just do well enough and grind enough that they can do just as well as a pay player. And I remember making a video where to show how you can become a free player that becomes a pay player because you can get enough currency in the game to play for free permanently. And it's just a really fun game. I played about 1,500 matches of this game. I got addicted for a couple months. I enjoyed it a lot. I had to just move on and do something else, which is the reason why I stopped playing, but I enjoyed it. It's just a fun game in that genre. There's a couple games in that genre that are really fun on phone, and I enjoyed it on Steam and on phone. I really did. I recommend this game, and if you enjoy it a lot, you can send them money by buying some currency, and if you don't like it so much, well, at least you tried it, because it is free, so there you go. MiniMax Tinyverse is just this fun strategy game of a 1v1 combat that just feels fun, and it's really cute, and the music's nice. I liked it, and I enjoyed it a lot, and because of the addiction, it got 10th place. Number 9 is Turmoil on the Switch. So how is a game that is a bit old on a 2020 list? And the answer is, it's a really good port. So it came out this year, it's by Play Digits and Gamius, and the port is amazing. When you do a port so well, I want to recommend on the top 10 list. That's pretty good. That's how good this port is. Turmoil was a game I was really addicted to, and I really enjoyed it a lot back when it came out on Steam. And here it comes again on Switch. I'm like, alright, try it out, see how good it is. And it's just a perfect port. It utilizes the controllers very well, utilizes the touchscreen very well. This is a game that utilizes the Switch, and it utilizes it perfectly. I love it on the Switch. I played so many hours on the go with it. I also played so many hours with it on console base, and it's just as good as what it was. So Turmoil is a game where you are digging for oil, and then you're selling oil. So first things you pick your land plot, and then you are scanning, trying to find where the oil deposits are. Then you dig for it, you get the oil, and then you're selling the oil. And then you go out and you're getting a bunch of upgrades, and you're auctioning out for another plot of land, figuring out where you should go to get more oil. And you do this cycle, and the cycle is very fun. It's a really enjoyable game. I like it a lot, and of course I have a one-shot for it. So, yep, Turmoil at 9. Pretty good. Number 8 is Banner of the Maid. So this game came out in 2019, but it didn't come out into 2020 on English because it was made by a Chinese developer known as Azure Flame Studio. Banner of the Maid is a game that I did not see coming. I did not expect to think it was great. I was like, oh, well, I got a free copy of it. I guess I'll check it out, see if it's any good. And it was good. It's really good. It's fully voiced in Chinese, by the way. It's funny, though, because what the game is it is a tactical RPG like Fire Emblem. Like, that's the best way to put it. It's like that kind of game. And it's during the French Revolution, and you control Pauline Bonaparte, real-life sister of Napoleon Bonaparte. The idea here is she has inherited Joan of Arc's power. That's the Maid, so the Banner of the Maid. And so in this version of events, history changes a little bit because in this version, women have these special powers they have because of just special women in history, and they've just inherited their power, so they're stronger. And there's also just fictional French characters as well. Cassette from Les Miserables is in this, for God's sakes. But there's also just the historical figures. So Napoleon's in this. And Napoleon is he's really cool because it's Napoleon, but you also get just historic characters like Robespierre, and you get Leclerc, and you have just French figures. And the idea of you still do the French Revolution, there's still all the things that happen there. The storming the Bastille is a little different. Just historic moments in France are a little different because now people have superpowers. Well, they're a little bit stronger. You're still using soldiers, and they're still like fighting. There's still the rock, paper, scissors tree like Fire Emblem has and things like that. But it's actually pretty good. It's surprisingly good. I did not expect it to be as fun as it was. And there's some management going on with the game, and you're just doing your tactical RPG battling. And the story's not bad. It falls apart a little bit at the end because, of course, it's a crazy idea for the French Revolution to be like this, and somehow still does regular history in the end somehow. But it's a fun idea that surprised me. I enjoyed it a lot. I played it all the way through, about like a 30-plus hour campaign, and I enjoyed it a bunch. It was really fun, and I do recommend it. Number 7 is Legend of Keepers. Now, I gotta tell you right now, Goblin Studios is close to my heart. I love these guys. I own almost every single one of their games. Either I bought it, or they've given me a copy of their game. And Legend of Keepers is another game they gave me a copy of, and oh man, is it good. So Legend of Keepers is a dungeon master simulator in a way, that's also roguelike. So the way this works is, you have your dungeon. There's a couple rooms in the dungeon, there's some trap rooms, there's some monster rooms, and then there's the big boss at the end of it protecting your treasure. And so you're just managing this dungeon. Adventurers are going to come in, you set up what monsters are going to fight them in these different rooms, what traps are going to fight them in these different rooms, and then how you want your big boss monster to deal with them. And so the adventurers are going to come in, they're going to fight the first group of monsters, or whatever traps are going to fight them and everything, and you get to pick what attacks these monsters do, what order and things like that to the enemies. and things will shake out, and eventually the adventurers get killed or they kill your monster, and that's the loop of the game. Between the fighting levels, you're going to have these roguelike elements where you're going to have a chance to train your monsters. You're going to have these chances to level up your traps or buy new monsters, send monsters out to do missions, do some money deals. You can trade in the blood and the tears of your enemies to get to level up or buy things and train things. Because the way it works is there's two mechanics. There's HP and fear, so you can make them run away from the dungeon, or you can just straight up kill them. And there's different final bosses you can get as well, and they have a tech tree as you play the game over and over again for what different kind of abilities they have, affecting them and the monsters. Eventually you lose and you'll do another run, and that you get the XP after the run's over. That's what I mean, to do another run in the game. And it's just really fun. It's very enjoyable. One thing I forgot to mention is the elemental system. Is the enemies will have strength versus different elements, and your team will have strength against different elements. And so you'll try to find just the right balance of team to fight them, or to soften them up for the next team, and things like that. Because sometimes if you really want tears, you'll have characters that are just really softening them up for the tears, and then they won't really survive that fight, but then the next group might, to make them all run away in fear. So there's a lot of strategy going on here, a lot of strategy, and that's what I really like about it, is not only being a dungeon master, which is a fun concept, but there's a bunch of strategy to think about, and just different kinds of ways you can do your run of protecting your dungeons as you go forward. And you can also choose to have harder heroes go into your dungeon, or easier heroes, depending on how the run goes, but there are going to be the times when it's a certain turn where you have to fight the really hard ones and just see how you do. It is a fun game, it's a challenging game, I love it a lot, and I recommend the heck out of it. And so there you go, number 7 out of the top 10, Legend of Keepers. Number 6 is Deep Rock Galactic. So this game came out of early access this year, and developers are Ghost Ship Games, publishers are Coffee Stain Studios, and it's really fun. So if you're a fan of like Left 4 Dead, but you have to do digging, like maybe like Minecraft kind of digging kind of concept, that's the game that is this right here. That's what it is. You're digging around looking for specific ores or whatever you need to complete the mission, to get out of there, and at the same time you're being attacked by various kinds of bugs, and there's like super bugs, there's boss level bugs, and it's just a really fun experience where you don't know what you're going to deal with. I played probably like 30 to 40 hours before I felt like actually seeing everything. There's a lot of things you can deal with in this game. It's very fun. I like that there's a big variety of things you can deal with, and it's great. An important thing is I played in multiplayer and in single player, because a game like this, I think it's important to see how both feels are, because sometimes people don't like to play with others. And the single player and the multiplayer are both very fun for different reasons. It is a lot harder to play single player, but it is doable and it is really fun as well. I enjoyed it a lot. You have 4 different kinds of dwarves you can play as, and they all have different travel abilities, and they're all very fun to play for different reasons and ways. And me, it's the digger. I like drilling around, and he just drill fisting around the ground, just digging really fast. He's got bombs, he can blow more things up, and he's got a flamethrower. The flamethrower, who doesn't enjoy but using a flamethrower, right? That's just very fun to do. You got a guy with a minigun. He has like a zip line he can do to travel around. Another guy can make platforms. It's a very fun game with a lot of creativity and variety to it, and I really enjoy that and appreciate that. And so Deep Rock Galactic is a fun game that you can play with yourself or with your friends, and you'll enjoy it a lot. And that's why it deserves 6th place. Number 5 is Shapes.io by Tobias Springer. So here's a controversial pick, because a lot of people really like Deep Rock Galactic, and this is above it. Shapes.io is like Factorio, but only the factory part. Only the factory part. And I sunk in twice as much time into this game as I did for Deep Rock Galactic. That's partially the reason why. I put in way too much time into this game. All this game is mine from the source, the shapes, different shapes around this world in Shapes.io, and you have all these different machines to cut them, to split them up, to stamp them back together, to color them, to mix the paints, to do all these different things to just make shapes. That's it, of different colors and different stamps. And that's all this game is. And it's compelling as heck for me. I really enjoy Factorio, and I really enjoy this because it's just the factory part of it, and just figuring out how to efficiently and correctly make these different shapes with the tools I'm given was way too addicting, way too much, and I just had a lot of fun with it. I could not stop. I don't know if I should admit this, there was a period where I played this for 8 hours straight. 8 hours straight of just making shapes. That was how addicting it is. Now, I'll admit this as well. Factorio, which is another really fun game in this area, with a little bit more is, me and Jinx have stayed up to like 4 a.m. playing Factorio many times. So, if you're a big fan of Factorio and you really like the factory part of that, Shapes might be there for you. It's not a very expensive game. It's a very fun little game you can play, and it can be very addicting if it's that style that you really enjoy. That's what it is. That's what gave it 5th place, because it's just that addiction. And the music, it's this tune that just works very well, and time just evaporates with it. It's just the right song for a game where you just endlessly and mindlessly just make it shapes. It's ridiculous. It's all I can say. It's just ridiculous. 5th place. It just works right there in the middle. It's pretty good. 4th place is Lenas Inception. Now, Lenas Inception surprised the heck out of me. By the way, it's by Bitten Studio. Came out in January. It's probably the first one-shot of the year. This game surprised me. So, it starts out as like a Link to the Past kind of top-down game. And it's just taking the piss out of it, kind of. Because the idea is the hero, Link, I think he's called Lunk or something in this, dies. And you were trying to be the tutorial giver, but now he's dead. So like, well, he's dead, now what? I guess I have to be the hero now. So that's who Lena is. Lena's running around doing his job, and because she's not him, things are a little different, and it's just a very fun game with that concept where you're not the destined hero, but you gotta do the job because, well, the one who's supposed to be it is dead now, because oops. So you have to just play this game world that is actually pretty fun and interesting. It's also roguelike, so that's a cool thing right there. It's basically, if you were playing, to an extent, a Link to the Past randomizer, that's what this game is, because the first half and the second half are randomized to the order of what the powers you get and the enemies you fight. And that's pretty cool there. And even after you beat the game, there are some surprises to it that make you want to play the game again and again, because you want to learn everything there is about this game. The problem is, I can't spoil the most amazing part of this game. There's a certain power you get in the second half of this game that is amazing and changes everything. It's kind of like The Messenger, where halfway through The Messenger, the game changes and he's like, oh man, this became something even greater. The same thing happens with Lenas Inception. There's a point where things change and the game goes off the rails and it is amazing, and that's why it's number 4. There is something really special about this game. I liked it a lot. Even though we're at the end of the year, it's been almost literally a year since I played it, I still remember how exciting and interesting those concepts were and how awesome they were, and that's why it's here at 4th place. 3rd place, Undermine by Thorium. And spoiler alert, if there wasn't another really good roguelike underground game that came out this year, Undermine would be the number 1 roguelike of the year for me. Undermine is really, really good. The gameplay loop is fun. It's great playing this game. So the idea of this game is you're a peasant, one of many peasants, who gets sent into this Undermine to dig around and find these relics for this wizard. You'll be going around fighting these different enemies. There's some cute enemies, there's some not so cute enemies. And it's very fun gameplay, very addicting gameplay. And you get all these variety of powers because it's a roguelike, and you get a variety of buffs to your abilities, and you're bombing things, you're blowing things up, you're digging around, you're getting gold. And it's just fun. It's a really good gameplay loop. Eventually you'll get killed by maybe one of the very creative and fun bosses, or just one of the enemies that can overwhelm you, or one of the curses, because there are curses, and curses can be fun to deal with. And then you'll go where you're not this character again, but you're another peasant who just inherits the quest and has to continue forward, and you'll get some of the money from the last peasant, and you'll upgrade different things, and you'll get new powers, and as you play the game, more things unlock, more different things to play with, more different ideas to buff your character come out. Like there's blessings, there's curses, there's pets. The variety of pets can also change up how your playstyle is, which is pretty cool. And you do things right, you can have 2 pets, which can do an amazing run. And you can also save some of the equipment you get in these special areas where you can use it for another run, which is nice. And you get potions for temporary buffs that you can get eventually. And there's just so many things you can do. And there's also bombs. There's a variety of different kind of bombs you can have. Different equipment. It's just fun. It's a fun, usual, like, it's that style of roguelike that many of them have existed before, and this is the newest one, and it's just really good. It's a solidly made game, tight gameplay. Enjoy a lot. The boss fights are fun. I really do enjoy the boss fights. They're really good. The humor's pretty good, too. Every year there's a roguelike. That's the best one out of all the roguelikes that came out that year. And Undermine is that one. This would be the best one, if not for a certain other one that came out this year. 3rd place is still pretty good. It's a really good game. I say it rivals Dead Cells in a different way. Like for a top-down style, it rivals it in just being an addicting, fun game. It's not as fast as Dead Cells, but it's just as fun. So third place, Undermine. Number 2 is Monster Train by Shiny Shoe. That's the developer. Publisher is Good Shepherd Entertainment. I love Good Shepherd Entertainment. They're really good publishers, and I can't wait to see what Shiny Shoe makes in the future. Monster Train, honestly, is tied for first, in my opinion, just because I can go back and forth on both these games. And you'll know what number 1 is in a minute if you don't know what it is already. This was an addiction. Monster Train was an addiction, and this is the best roguelike deck builder of the year for sure. So the way this game works is, you've got a Monster Train. It's a train, you have a bunch of monsters on there, you use your deck to build the monsters you're going to use to defend your train as angels attack the train cars trying to get to your main power source to destroy it and make you lose the game. There are 5 different decks you can choose from to build your deck out of. Like 5 different tribes to build your deck from. And you get to pick 2 of them. You pick a primary and a secondary. And how they are as a primary and how they are as secondaries are a bit different because you get a hero unit if you're their primary, and they have different play styles. And it's really fun mixing up these different styles and winning with these different styles. I have won with every single combination. I have tried so many different styles. I've done so many different things. And it is such a fun game. Monster Train was the addiction. I spent 200 hours this year playing this game. I did everything I could in this game. This was a game where I went all the way through, just kept playing and 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 playing. I spent way too much time playing this game. It was an incredibly fun time. Music's good, visuals are good, very fun, good strategy. It just makes you feel smart when you pull it off. It really does. And it's heartbreaking when you fail. And when you come up with these really smart and broken plays, oh man, is it so good. There are some really clever moves you can do in this game, where you can do just monstrous amounts of damage, and it is amazing, it's hilarious, you just feel so smart when you pull it off. And there are times when the challenge is just really there, and you barely pull it off, and you just feel so much relief, but also just like, wow, you just felt really smart when you pulled it out. Monster Train was an incredible game. It got second place, it could easily have been first place though. I recommend the hell out of this game if you like deck builders. Number 1 is PartTime UFO. Just kidding. PartTime UFO gets the HAL award. So we always say like, well, if there's a game from HAL, I'll put it on the list anyway, because I'm sure it'll be good. And this one was really good. It'd be somewhere in the middle of this list because PartTime UFO is really fun, but it gets its own award because since I'm such a HAL fanboy, it just gets its own award so that no one can say there's bias if I put it way too high on the list. So you get number 1 in a moment. So PartTime UFO, I gotta tell you about this because it is a fun game, is a game where you are a UFO. You've come to Earth, and you're a part-timer because you're just doing jobs for people on Earth. So you're doing like, kind of like package jobs, you're kind of like a UPS little UFO, and you have a crane that comes out of you because it's a UFO, and you will pick things up and you put them in other places. You gotta put them in a specific order, or in a specific arrangement on a platform, or you're just delivering things, like you go fishing, or you deliver cargo. And it's a fun idea. The music's pretty nice. I like the music a lot. The visuals are nice. It was originally on the phone, and then they ported it to Switch, and it's seamlessly beautiful on the Switch. Because it went from 30 frames to 60 frames, and the frames are butter. And you can play it on 2 players on the Switch as well, which is really fun, honestly. It was made by HAL Egg, which is the mobile division for HAL, the makers of Kirby. It's a cute game, it's a fun game, I like it a lot, and I recommend the heck out of it, and you can download it on Switch right now if you like it. And there's a Scarface video showing it off, and on the side channel, there's gameplay footage of it as well. So check it out if you like it. Now let's get to number 1. Number 1 is Hades by Supergiant Games. Supergiant Games, I own every single one of their games. I've enjoyed the hell out of their games, they're really good. And Hades is the evolution of Supergiant Games. It's the best way to put it. It is a roguelike, it is the best roguelike of the year, easily. You could argue it rivals Dead Cells, or it's better than Dead Cells. I say it's better than Dead Cells. It is better than Dead Cells in gameplay loop and in story, because there doesn't exist one in Dead Cells, but the actions, it's just good. It's a solid, it's amazing game. It's just so very good. Hades is really good. Now, if you're a fan of Supergiant Games, you had Bastion, you had Transistor, you had Pyre, and now you got Hades. Hades is the evolution from Bastion all the way over to Hades. It's just so good. Just the combat system has been refined so well. The art has been just improved so much. And the music is just so good. The voice acting is great. It has improved. Everything has grown. Everything has matured. Like, nothing has gotten worse about Supergiant. It's just gotten better, and I appreciate that. There's a lot to this game. It's like the legacy of what this game is, the gameplay itself, the storytelling. I've beaten it a few times, and it is just so fun, and all the characters are great for different reasons. I absolutely enjoy... Oh, I can't, that's a spoiler. There's some things I really enjoy that are spoilers that are really good. The thing that isn't a spoiler, though, is Zagreus is the main character. Him and Cerberus is really fun. Him and Deuce is fun. Hypnos is such a bastard. The gameplay itself is great. What I really appreciate about the gameplay is you get a variety of 6 different weapons, and you have all these different buffs that can go with these weapons, and then you get these Daedalus hammers. The Daedalus hammers can fundamentally change how some of the weapons work, which gives you even more variety. So you have all these different buffs to all your different abilities, and sometimes they can completely change what an ability does, and then you get this hammer that can change them up even more. And then, after you beat the game, you can put in even more challenges against yourself, give even more variety. One of the best ones is, I'm going to give this away, is the Extreme Measure, which is you can make it that the bosses have even more things they do to make it even harder to fight them, which is probably my favorite thing you can add for difficulty is the bosses have more problems for you to deal with. That is awesome. Just, yeah, the variety of what your weapons can do, the variety of the conversation you have with gods. There was so much voice work that did not need to be done in this game. There's so much storytelling that did not need to be put in this game, but they did. There was just so much in here. The game is densely packed. It is really densely packed. There's so much in here to enjoy, so much to play, so much variety, so much experimentation you can do, and there's just character moments to enjoy as well. And the music is amazing. Oh my god, the music's great. The visuals are so good. Gameplay is good. You can just zip through and just murder a bunch of things really quick. You can be slower and methodical and just be a little more careful with what you do as well. Like, you can do a lot of long distance kind of fighting. You can do a lot of close range fighting, a lot of just zipping around. It's just, this is a game that had a lot of care put into it. Had a lot of thought put into it. And they did a lot of feedback with this game. They took in a ton of feedback as they were making this game. And they improved it so much each time. That's what's amazing about it is they just kept making it better and better and better and better and better. Because I know they had a long development period and they were going through a lot of feedback, a lot of just going back and forth on it, and it shows. This game is so well polished. It is incredible. I don't think I've had any real moment where I did not like this game. I don't think I did. Even when I had a build that just wasn't coming together as well as I would have liked, I was still viable and I was still having a lot of fun doing it. I just knew I had to be a little bit smart about dodging, be a little bit smart about how I cast my things, and I would do all right. This game just hits that perfect mark. It really does. Hades deserves the #1 spot, but I still say Monster Train is just so good and so addicting that it can be up there too because it's just a really good deck builder. So that is the top 10 one-shots of 2020. Some really good indie games. Like I said, I played 347 indie games this year. Oh my god, did I play a lot. And there was a lot of not good games this year either, which is too bad. And I don't like doing bad games lists because that's no fun. Like, you can have a lot of fun taking the crap out of games, but we're here to celebrate how good games are. And there are a lot of games that could have been better, and maybe those studios will survive and make another game, and I can't wait to see what they do, and if they make some great game in the future, I'll ref back to them for sure. But these were the top 10. These were the best ones. These were really, really good. Recommend all of them. And yeah, it was a pretty good year for really good games this year in the AAA and in the indies, despite the fact there was a virus in the way, of course. Like, the virus, of course, there are games that definitely got pushed back to 2021 that should have came out this year, but because of what happened, they're not here. And I can't wait to see that competition in 2021, because there's going to be a lot of gems that should have been out this year that are going to be out next year. That's going to be interesting. So we're going to be flooded with even more games. There's going to be some really good ones out there, and I'll be curious to see if I can find all the gems in that. And we will try, of course, with the one-shot series to find all the great games and recommend them. And of course, grandfather in a little bit, any December-ish games might sneak in there if I find any good ones at this point in the year. And yeah, so there you go. That is the top 10 one-shots of 2020. Had a lot of fun playing all these games and showing them off, and hope you had fun watching. That's what it's all about, isn't it? Having fun. Thanks for coming by, and see you next year.